Today, I will talk about validation controls. First of all, let me give you a brief explanation about validation controls, and we will have some exercise about that. First of all, I will solve an exercise for you, and then I will give you time to solve your exercise, okay? An important aspect of creating ASP.NET web pages for user input is to be able to check that the information users enter is valid. Okay? Actually, ASP.NET provides a set of validation controls for us that provide an easy to use but powerful way to check for errors. And if necessary, display messages to us, to the user. There are 6 types of validation controls in ASP.NET. Required field validation control, compare validator control, range validator control, regular expression validator control, custom validator control, and validation summary. But in this course, I will talk about 2 of them. Required field validation control and regular expression validator control. Required field validation control makes an input control a required field. Okay? Regular expression validator control ensures that the value of an input control matches a specified pattern. If we can use, let's say, more than one validation control for one control, okay? But we cannot use one validation control for more than one control. This is an important point when you consider to use validation controls. Okay, let me solve an exercise about that. First of all, let's say that I'm going to create an order form, and I want to take customer name, order number, address, and telephone number from the user. These are the input that I'm going to take from the user. Okay, let me create our table. Okay, 4 rows and 2 columns. The first one will be the first one will be customer name. The second one is order number. The third one is address, and the last one is telephone number. Okay, for customer name, I'm going to use textbox, textbox 1, textbox 2 for order number, textbox for address, and textbox for telephone number. And let me put a button here. This button will be used, let's say, to submit the form. Okay. Now, let's assume that we have a code for submit. I'm clicking submit, and this information will be sent, okay? Let's say that to the server for saving into a database, for example. Assume that we have the code. Let me run the project. Okay, here, this is our form, okay? And without writing anything, I'm just clicking submit button. When I click for that, you see back arrow is enabled. This means that submit is happened. My browser made the request, okay? But as you see, I don't have any information. User did not enter any information. So how this happened? Why I am making a request to the server and making server busy for nothing? So here we have 2 options. You can write a code to check if user inputs are valid, or use validation controls. Okay? Let me go back to my form, and here in the toolbox we have validation menu tab. Okay? You can expand it and see the validation controls. Here I'm going to use required field validator. I'm dragging and dropping required field validator near textbox 1. Actually, I don't need to put it near textbox 1. But why I did it? Because if user doesn't enter any information into textbox 1, I will give him a message, error message. So when I give him an error message, I want it to be displayed near textbox 1 because the error message is related with textbox 1. That's why I put it there. But doesn't matter where you put it. Okay? It works. Okay? But the meaningful thing is put it near to the control that this required validator controls. Okay. Now, when you select required field validator, you will go to properties, and in properties, first of all, you need to set control to validate property here. I need to do this because I want to tell which control will be validated by this validate control. It is textbox 1. Second thing is display, but I will keep it as static. I will explain this display property later. I will move to error message. If user doesn't fill customer name, which error message will be displayed? I need to write it here. So I will say name is required. Okay? And if you want, you can change color of this message. It's black by default. Okay? You can go here and change its fore color to, for example, red. Okay? Okay. What about order number? I want to do the same for order number as well. So you need to put another required field validator for order number and control to validate textbox 2, display static, error message. Sometimes you see on web pages that when required field is not filled, it displays a star, red star near the corresponding input box. So you understand that that field is mandatory. Okay, so we can do that. As an error message, I put star. Okay, and here for the font, I am changing its font to bold, size to large, and fore color to red. So if order number is missing, this star will be displayed. Okay, I'm just doing this to show you some examples. Okay. Okay, required field validator for address. Okay, control to validate textbox 3, error message, address is missing, and telephone number is here. So required field validator for telephone number, and I'm clicking required field validator. Control to validate property will be textbox 4, error message will be telephone number is missing. Okay, after I write error message, okay, it's okay. So my form is ready. Let's try it again. I am running my application. Okay, we got an error. So as you see, it says that web forms unobtrusive validation mode requires a script resource mapping for jQuery. Please add a script resource mapping named jQuery. Actually, I created my project as empty project. Okay, so the configuration regarding unobtrusive validation mode is not done by the let's say compiler. So here I don't want to talk too much about this mode. I'm just telling you the way to overwhelm this error. So in the page load, if you just say this unobtrusive validation mode is equal to unobtrusive validation mode dot none. If we say this will solve our problem, okay? Change unobtrusive validation mode to none. Just type this statement, okay? Then everything will work. Okay, let's run the project. Okay, my form is this. Without filling any field, I'm clicking submit. I know we don't have code in submit, but doesn't matter. When you click a button, it makes the request. If there is no code, nothing will happen. But you are making requests to the server. That's why I'm telling you, assume that we have a code in submit. Okay? Okay. I click submit button, and as you see, name is required, and we have star here, address is missing, and telephone number is missing. Okay. It tells us that we don't have valid input. And in the meantime, you can see that back arrow is not enabled. This means that I am still on the same page and my browser did not make any request to the server. Why? Because validation controls use JavaScript, and JavaScript is client-side scripting, so everything runs on client's computer. So I'm not making the server busy without having valid inputs. Okay? Okay. Now let's go here, and for customer name, I'm saying Sam. Click submit button, and you see error message is disappeared, but still I am on the same page because back arrow is not enabled on the browser. No request is made. Okay, order number 123, submit, address, okay, Famagusta, submit, telephone number, something, and submit. Now, back arrow is appeared because the browser made the request, because we have valid inputs here. Is that okay? Okay, that's good. Now, what about the other problem? Actually, I used required set validator and I checked my inputs and I see that my input data are valid. Valid means filled by the user. But actually, let's look at here. This telephone number is not a telephone number. So what about the format? I want to check the format as well. So how I can do that? How I can be sure that telephone number format is correct? How I can be sure that address is really address? Or order number is 3 digits, for example. So for these type of controls, we need to use regular expression validator. So here we have regular expression validator. I'm dragging and dropping regular expression validator for telephone number. I told you, for one control, you may have more than one validate control. So here, this is what I'm doing. I have telephone number here in textbox 4. I have one required field validator, and I will have one regular expression validator for the same control. Now, for regular expression validator, I am changing its control to validate property, textbox 4, because it will control textbox 4. I will keep display as static. Error message, format is incorrect. And that's not all. We have one more additional property that I need to set. It is validation expression. Okay, friends, here, if you know how to write regular expression, because it has some rules, you can search for that and find and learn how you can write your own regular expression. If you know that, you can write it here. If you don't know how to write regular expression, or if you want to, earn some time, so you can check the templates here. and you can find the appropriate regular expression for you. For example, if you are using internet email address, you can choose this one. Internet URL, choose this one. Mine is telephone number, so here I am checking US phone number. So when I check it, regular expression will be displayed here, okay? And when I say okay, regular expression will be set to validation expression. So I don't need to write regular expression here because I have the template and I used it. Okay, what is the template? It says that, US phone number will be, US phone number format will be used. It is 3 digits, dash 3 digits, dash 4 digits. So it is done by, the check will be done by the regular expression validator. Okay, now I'm ready. I'm running my project. I'm clicking submit button. And as you see, first of all, required field validator is run. So I'm saying Sam. I'm saying 12 address, Cyprus, telephone number 123, for example. Okay, when I click submit or move to any other text box, format is incorrect. Error message will be displayed. Why? Because this is regular expression validator, and it saw that my telephone number format is incorrect. So what is the correct format? 3 digits, and 4 digits. This is the correct format. After you do that and click any text box or click submit button, okay, error message will be disappear. Okay, so I used regular expression to validate the format of my telephone number. Let me make it invalid again. The final thing that I want to say, we have a gap here, you see. Look, if I don't write telephone number, tel number is missing, comes, and it ends here. This is required field validator. When I write anything here, so required field validator will be validated, but now regular expression validator will be invalid. But we have a gap here. What is this gap? This gap is because of required field validator. In my design, I use required field validator here between textbox 4 and regular expression validator. So this gap, let's say that space, is reserved for required field validator. Okay? And when it is valid and the other validator is invalid, on the page, this gap will be displayed. Okay, I don't want to show this gap or this space to the user. So what I need to do, I am going back to my project, and for required field validator, for display property, I am changing it from static to dynamic. If you make it none, nothing will be displayed. Okay? If you make it static, always that space will be reserved for this validator. When you say dynamic, when it is invalid, so this message will be displayed. When it is valid, the space will not be reserved. Okay, I change display to dynamic. I run the project. Okay, submit. Okay, let me write some information here. Okay, I said 1, 2, but invalid format. I click submit, and you see we don't have space here, and format is incorrect message displayed by regular expression validator. Why we don't have space here? Because I changed display property of required field validator to dynamic. Okay? Did you understand? Is that okay? Okay. I'm closing it. For required field validator, I'm changing its display to none. Okay, I'm running it. So here I'm clicking submit, and you see message is not displayed. I'm writing some information here. I'm clicking submit. Still message is not displayed, but it didn't make request because we have problem here. Now here required field validator is invalid. I mean, required field validator found that user did not enter any information into textbox 4. So it creates invalid error. But since I set display none, it doesn't display any message here. But it doesn't allow me to make request as well. Okay? So when I say, how I understand that? Because back arrow is not enabled. Let me write something here. 1, 2, submit. Now regular expression validator is active. Now I had something here, submit, and back arrow is enabled. So it made the request. A new page came. Okay? Did you understand what happens when we have display none, display static, and display dynamic? Okay. I mean, even display is none, your required validator runs, okay? It runs properly, but it just not display an error message. Okay. Any question? That's good. Okay.